Hello, hello, hello! We're on Polypoid, and it is a Starcraft Broodwar ladder replay between Best, who is the Protoss player spawning here in the top right, and he is playing against TaEngGu, who is the Terran player playing in blue today on the bottom right of Polypoid. I'm Arbitor. For those of you who have never met me before, I am a Broodwar caster who does this for a lot of fun, and this is our third game on the bounce today. It is a scorching 35 degrees in Melbourne, Australia, where I live, and I thought, you know what, I can just switch my air conditioner on, I can sit in my room, I can look through my replay packs and decide which games I want to watch, and while I'm watching them I might as well just commentate them and share them with the world. So here we are. So TaEngGu is one of those enigmatic players who is constantly in the top sort of 5 on the ladder, but has just never ever really been able to make it into ASL. His opponent today, and obviously somebody we would strongly probably favor and consider favorite to win, is Best, who is a top Protoss player who is frequently in the mix of sort of the quarterfinals, semifinals, and even got pretty close to the finals of ASL in relatively recent times. A little bit of a disappointing player in the sense that you support him, you really want him to win. I mean, I'm a Protoss fan, so I always support the Protoss players when they're playing in ASL. And you get behind Best, and it just feels a little bit like he underperforms in competitions. The same with Snow, to be honest. I mean, Snow, yes, has made the final years ago, but he's improved so much in recent years, and yet he can't seem to get past the round of 16, round of 8. So let's hope that trend doesn't happen again. Bearing in mind there will be quite a lag between when I'm recording this game and when it's actually out, so please don't pay any attention. At time of recording, ASL Season 17 has not started yet, so I've got absolutely no idea what's going to happen. Okay, so we are doing the gasless expand, so we see the gas only coming up now, so this is quite an econ aggressive build. Looks like Best is just opening standard, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing what the correct response is here from Protoss. I've been studying this specific dynamic a couple of times where Protoss has gone range goon, no zealot, with the plan to go either 21 or 23 Nexus, and Terran has, and not scouted, sorry, just going back to Protoss, and not scouted until after core and Ranger started. As we see, the scout starts now, although it doesn't, I think he's going to scout with a 23 probe by the looks of things. So there it is. So a 23 Nexus versus gasless expand. This is kind of the dynamic that I've been trying to study to understand specifically how behind is Protoss as a result of this open, because you can tell he's just started his Nexus and this command center is blinking. So there's certainly a massive economic edge, right? So how far behind and what is the correct response? So you can see sending a goon and a probe to scout. He's going to find this and see, wow, okay, so he has a barracks already. There is a so it does save his probe. He would have probably spotted the command center. So the question is, what do you do? He hasn't cancelled anything. He's making a probe, he's making a dragoon, he's making a robo. This is all just still the standard 23 Nexus. You get your robo on about 26, and then you look at getting yourself a observer and so on and so on. So we will probably see a dragoon here just to keep an eye on any vulture that pops out, and to just put a little bit of pressure on the bunker. So he's going to have to send a second SCV here to do repairs, doing a worker transfer and sending his third dragoon down now. Timing on this looks a little bit off, although he's so quick he actually managed to redirect any probes that would go the wrong way. So it's got to be ages before a tank comes out, right? So there's a first tank is on the way. He's gone siege mode. So this is a aggressive econ into quite a turtly style. So you don't make any vultures in the early game. You go straight to 2 shops. So that's actually an interesting piece of the meta that I'm learning here from the Terran perspective. What I'm curious to understand now from the Protoss point of view, do you take a third? You usually take a third on 7 Dragoons, right? So that's the rule of thumb. If Terran does a standard factory expand, Terran didn't do a standard factory expand. Terran did a gasless expand after making a Rax, and then only started with a factory. So, question you got to ask is, when does he take it? Okay, so he's sending his probe now. Let's get a count on his Dragoons. There's a shuttle here as well, and a Reaver. Okay, so he's gone 4 goons. Has confirmed siege mode because he's been shot in the face twice. Has made 1 Reaver, which is about to pop out there, and is about to drop it. Okay, so that seems to be the response, is you get your support bay tech up, and get your shuttle out, and you confirm siege mode, which is what he's done after relentlessly pressuring the bunker, and you take a third. Okay, so that seems to have just been the response from Best. The question now we've got to ask ourselves is, to reduce some of that economic deficit that he would have been experiencing. You can see that although the probe counts, he's ahead on probes, so potentially our Terran might have missed 1 or 2 rounds of macro on his command centers. So the next question is, what, if any, damage does he get with the Reaver? We heard a mine just go down there. We see that he's sieging up a tank over here. He's also thrown down a few mines as well. Throws down the Reaver here. Kills that turret. It's going to try and drop the Reaver smack bang into the middle of the mineral line, but there's 2 tanks here in siege mode. It's dropped sort of out of range of the one. Oh! Picks off that tank. Nicely done. Is he going to pick off another tank? 2 more tanks to pop out now, so probably a limited amount of damage that he could realistically expect to do. So the Reaver does die. Interesting. So we're still on equal worker counts. Best is now established his 3rd base and is doing a probe transfer. He's got himself some Dragoons, and he's up to 3 gate Reaver tech. So we will see now how he transitions from this point onwards into his tech tree. So let's do a quick scan of the production tab. We're getting speed for our shuttle, so it doesn't look like we want to give up on the harassment just yet. This is probably just an observer. So we see a sub 8-minute third from TaEngGu, which I think again is probably the correct response. Having seen the Reaver harassment, I don't know if he sent something to scout, but I'm pretty sure he's got a sense that Best would have gone a relatively quick third, starting to go up to 4 gates, get himself a forge, get himself a citadel. So we'll have a quick view of his tech tree in the not too distant future. Another shuttle that is about to get shuttle speed is entering the fray. Here's just an observer. So we'll see what he can do. The shuttle speed literally kicks in as he flies over the turret, drops the Reaver on top of the tank. Oh wow, so 2 scarabs, but just because he moved away, he managed to save that 2nd scarab doing the damage. He hits. Oh wow, that must have been easily 8 SCVs. That scarab, I keep calling it for some silly reason. That scarab unfortunately duds, but suddenly Best flies into a pretty commanding position from a worker count and supply point of view, and could probably now look at taking a 4th. Because he would have spotted on his way in that TaEngGu, the Terran player, is on 3 bases. So we're moving some Dragoons across, and I think it is exactly for that purpose, to set up and prepare for an expansion to take a 4th. So a Templar Archives, a Stargate. Looks like Best is planning on going Arbiter here. The time of the Reaver looks like it's come and gone. We're getting leg speed, we're getting +1 weapons. We're probing up like a madman, and here he's just set up a pretty clear line, and just go straight into taking a 4th base. So wouldn't be too surprised if we see more. Interestingly enough, did make 2 more Reavers and has just parked them here to make it pretty tricky for our Terran player to move across the map and take map control with vultures. The production tab on the Terran side looks like just building workers, adding factories, adding a starport. So this is certainly going to be an upgrade style. So looks like TaEngGu's going to try and dig in and win this game with 3-3 mech, and this will result in a pretty passive type style from him. He'll harass where he can with vultures, he'll lay mines where he can, But if you're best now, you know with a high level of comfort that you can probably really macro up here and dig in for a game where you're going to have to take a lot of bases. You're going to have to probably do some base trades, etc, etc. So the Arbiter Tribunal finishes. You would expect Best to have immediately started an Arbiter, but unfortunately he doesn't have the gas. He's got all his gas saturated here and here. I'm pretty sure he'll be onto this third gas pretty quickly, and he's looking to take a pretty quick fifth base as well. So the vultures are getting out onto the map a little bit, so we'll probably see a couple of cannons pretty soon protecting these mineral lines up here as well. So we see one cannon here, potentially another one here. There's no wall or anything protecting, so vultures could theoretically just walk straight up here now. Well, they don't walk, they ride their motorbikes, don't they? But they could ride straight up here and cause a bit of grief. Somehow these goons are actually just going to miss these vultures, which is just crazy. And he's moving down the map. There's no observers escorting these, but somehow it doesn't lose any goons. And here we go. So as I described it, there's just nothing here. I think probably to TaEngGu's surprise, like you would expect there to be something. There's some slow, there's some zealots here that could move across and do a bit of damage. We're keeping an eye on the mini map to see if there's any move outs. Looks like just clearing a few mines, and those vultures are tidied up before the worker transfer. We do have a cannon over here. We do still have our reavers parked off here, and we do still have our goons kind of chilling here, but I don't think they're going to engage. Just trying to arc a little bit of a soft contain and get any early warnings on any move outs from his Terran opponent, so that he can explode his base count. So he's gone from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 between minutes 10 and minutes 12 in this game. And that's exactly what I would have expected based on the signaling effect that Terran going on to 3 bases tends to provide. Sloppy there, losing a goon. So kind of just positioning his units forward so that he's agile, that he can move forward. Here does come our first Arbiter. I haven't been keeping an eye on the Arbiter upgrades, but it looks like he's gone stasis before recall. So perhaps gearing up to max out and then try and trade. These tanks are a little bit clumpy along with these vultures, but I don't know, man. Arbiter play, I'm always in two minds. So this is a confirmation quest. This is, oh, have you got any? Oh, you do you? Okay, cool. So, oh wow, the probe and the vulture died there at exactly the same time. That was actually pretty hilarious. Okay, so this game is relatively chilled. It's beautiful from a macro point of view, watching how the Protoss is expanding and trying to take more and more of the map. And it is interesting from a Terran point of view as to when he's going to try and time taking this fourth base, because I think that's the logical next step. You can see Best has got observers here to confirm exactly when any expansion attempts from his opponent come about. And it's just probably going to chill. Like, I don't think he has the timing to engage. We've got 180 supply. We've got a huge amount of tanks. We've got 2-1 about to finish. I just don't think there's a timing here for Protoss. He has got predominantly tier 1 units. We don't see any Templars on the field. We just see an Arbiter chilling with his friends. So the question is it recall? Is it going to be recall on the fourth base when he tries to establish the fourth base? We will have to see. It's so strange, the change of pace that you can get in a game. So he does drop in the Reavers here. Probably just wants to slow down this expansion, which was the purpose of the Observer. But I was saying earlier, it's so weird, the change of pace. Like, I just got done casting a Rain versus Kyrie PvZ, and it was just action-packed. There was just non-stop engagements, fights, you know, fighting over bases, attacks, counterattacks, etc. And that kind of seems to be what PvZ lends itself to most of the time. PvT can be, particularly if the Terran is quite passive, can just be this huge build, right? So you've got sometimes 15, even 20 minutes of build-up, and then you just get fighting non-stop until the game is over. Sorry, I just ate and drank some water, and for some reason I'm struggling to clear my throat. Our Arbiter has arrived, and we've gone for a recall on the main. There's so many mines and vultures and mechanical units that are not particularly far away from the main. So This is why I'm always left asking myself, doesn't really matter who the Protoss player is, do recalls and Arbiter play still work? I mean, I don't know. We've also going to try and move in here on a very, very entrenched position in a conga line single file manner, which is really not a good idea. And Best thinks that that's perhaps not a good plan and changes his mind. So a couple of units here still going, but you can see there's the profit there was SCVs. I think he did kill a few. Terran is down to 52 SCVs. But I mean, other than that, pretty minimal damage. He's going to reinforce and block any future recalls now, so that it'll be even more difficult to get one off going forward. And TaEngGu decides, well, you probably lost a lot of stuff, so I'm now going to move out. I've got 2-1. I'm going to move out here, and I'm either just going to chill here so I can take this base, or I'm actually just going to come and kill your natural. So we do have pretty much just Zealots and Dragoons, and we have a lot of tanks. He's recalled. You saw the units disappear. This is where they arrived. So, okay, fair enough. But there's... how many SCVs? He was on 52. So, he lost a few SCVs. Fine. But he's got nothing to fight this army. And so now he's going to lose this base, and potentially his main. He does have, though, an entire second main on this side. And has managed to take this. So, that's really the point of expanding a whole heap as Protoss, is you have to concede the fact that the mechanical units of the Terran army are just much stronger than you are. So they're going to move out in mass, and you're just not going to be able to beat them in a fight. So the option that you have is you can kill a base, which is what's happened here. So it's no longer a 4-basing Terran, it's a 3-basing Terran, which is an economic blow. You can keep an eye on any other expansion areas, and you can go, well, I've had to lose my natural, and I'm probably going to lose my main, although I can slow this down. I can't stop it. I can slow it down by shuttling some units across. I can slow it down by storming as things get onto high ground. I can certainly slow it down, but I got no chance in hell of stopping it. So what I have to do is I've got to rebuild in other areas and just spread the Terran thin. Terran will run out of money on 3 bases at about 21 minutes, okay? So he's got a window where he's got to really make this count before the economic power of Protoss and the ability to just keep on reinforcing and keep fighting becomes overwhelming and too difficult for the Terran to stop. So that's really the window here. So I think he might just chill here. I don't know if he's going to try and go up and kill all of this tech. I think he can just hold. And he has decided to do that and move out to try and pressure other areas. Coming up the ramp here is going to be a little bit painful, and obviously being surrounded or blocked by these pylons is also painful. Couple of zealot bombs potentially here. No. What do we have here? Just mines. So moving some units across. There's still a fair amount of army here, but it looks like Best just wants to ensure that nothing gets established here. Let's get one more tank up on the ramp. These 3 dragoons, though, are going to come in, probably tidy this up without too much of a problem. The vultures, though, join the fray. But if the dragoons can retreat to the security of the cannons, then they ain't going to get much done here. So the second natural's kind of now been attacked, and there's not really much that Best can do. He may throw down a stasis here, potentially, on a few of the tanks. Chooses to stasis the vultures, interestingly enough, which kind of makes a bit of sense because they tend to buffer. Also does a recall drop, in essence, on top of all of these tanks, and that was a lot of zealots that he managed to drop. So it does tidy it up, and now you can see it becomes a scrap. It's just a case of having all of these units. The challenge for the Terran is that he's not going to have the gas to be able to reinforce and make the tanks that he loses from these factories. So the factory production count looks impressive, but he doesn't have the bases. He needs this gas, and this is really where it's quite huge that Best took that base down, and that Best still has gateways, cannons, resources down here. He's managed to freeze this. He's going to kill these vultures too. All these bases are still up and running, and his main, I mean, although the workers are stuck here, his main and all his technology remains intact. Okay, so another big fight. Non-stop arbiters. There's a commitment to this arbiter style, though I think we'll see more and more storm come into the game as we go along. And as I say, that a couple of storms go off and clean up a few vultures, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to this base. A whole bunch of tanks basically siege up on the ramp, and that's going to be the end of that. So what is this Arbiter up to? I have a feeling he's going to recall. Let's see. So that's really all Best is doing, is holding on as much as he can, and just totally unimpeded. Not a turret here, nothing. Just everything you would want. So you would have expected a recall, and there it is. So he's going to kill himself. 10, 15, 20 SCVs. You can see this money's low, this money's gone. So that is a critical economic blow. This is about to mine out. So Terran desperately needs that income. And so he's going to hold on. He's probably going to lose this. And that's okay if you're Best. And that's okay in this match. It's just a case of balancing out how many bases do I have left. 44 workers. Some reinforcing tanks are going to come in here and clean up these Dragoons. So I think he sent his workers back a little bit too quickly. These are glitching like mofos. It's actually quite hilarious. So we can see 32, 31, 30, 29, 28. The econ damage here is immense. Not only the amount of workers killed, but the fact that the workers that he does have are now totally unemployed. They are just not mining any money. Does save the command center. Should be able to reestablish. And once again, sending, it feels like more SCVs up the ramp for slaughter. Finally gets a few tanks up there to clean that up. Alright, well, making a command center over here now, interestingly enough, desperately needs to establish more sources of income. Look at his, he's not got really any income coming in here. It's just, I think, the scraps that are remaining here, a little bit from here, and now it's got to set this up as well. DT could actually do some damage here. Just kill this SCV quickly. Cheers, bro. Okay. So, still managed to hold on to this base, just with Arbiters and a couple of recalls. A couple of mines here, but nothing else. So this space is still going strong. Mining bases, we have two solid, strong mining bases for our Protoss. We have got one command center under construction here, and we have got one unlanded command center over here. So if we get both of those landed and up and running, we have a game again. If we can't, then Protoss is going to win. So, it doesn't have much here except a Templar. It's got quite a few units over here. Perhaps a recall of some kind. It looks like that's what happened here. And so as he repositioned these units, he managed to bring in this recall and kill that command center again. So that was really good play from Best. And I think a little bit of a clinic on how to play Arbiter and understand that the Arbiter style is in essence a base trade. Does send his units around here now to block this base from coming up. Storms. So is using the combination of Arbiter, Templar, because it's, as the Terran units scale, you need the splash damage. Oh man, and that stasis is just brutal. And the storm on top of it, that is just so much pain if you are a Terran fan. And I think Best is just slowly, methodically taking control of this game. Our Terran player is trying to come up here and knock down the source of income. There's a lot of tanks that are going to come up here and do that. This base is still very much intact though, and these units are kind of all just hiding away here, chilling. But the time that this stasis is bought has just been really significant. So does send in a whole heap of zealots from I think the top side, where he had a lot of units, probably recalled them in just because the sheer volume of arbiters that he has on the map. Has managed to do a stasis on the science vessel, so detection becomes a bit of an issue. Does tidy up these tanks. We've got 20 SCVs left, we've got 89 supply, and we've got no money. This has been just a really solid performance. Some more units hiding under the arbiters over here. So I think he's going to throw the last of what he has left here at the bottom left corner where a lot of the money is. And we'll see how Best plans to hold this off. DTs, but he probably has scan. Oh, he's got the vessel here, so doesn't need the scanners. The vultures earning their money. Don't see anything on the mini-map in terms of what's moving around. He might just be planning to sack this. So it's re-establishing a natural here, because there's no pressure here anymore. Could re-establish this position too if he wanted to. Could probably re-establish this natural. There's a single tank here and nothing else. So Best has just got so many options. Terran is so spread thin. There really isn't all that much that he can do. So yes, he can come in here. Yes, he can kill this. It's got nothing that shoots up though. The Arbiter could do a lot of the damage himself if he wanted to. Oh, good noise. Sending a few zealots across the map. Interesting to see where he chooses to engage at this stage. Probably just going to reinforce this position. So I think he's sacked this. He's going to consolidate this area once again. And he could actually choose to consolidate this area once again if he wanted to. What income do we have online? We've got this mining now, and that's it. We haven't got this up again that we managed to squash as the Protoss. And no other areas that we're trying to establish any mining bases at this stage. So, yep, it's going to sack this. This is gone. We can see the units moving across going, well, that's gone. Where do I go next? And if you're Terran, you've got to come here, and you've got to take on a very, very strong amount of Protoss army with what has become a somewhat dwindling amount of mechanical units. Let's have a look at the factories. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we are producing 6 vultures. That's all we have. We don't have gas. Although he could make a tank or two if he now wanted to. He's got a little bit of gas. So more arbiters, more units. I think he's now planning to have a... You can see he's rallying all his units to the center. And I think he's now planning to engage with the Terran army. He's got enough numbers. So it's regardless of power. It's just about critical mass. Sweeping a few mines potentially if we can get these observers to come with him. I think a fun game to watch in the sense that, you know, people argue that the Arbiter Meta is no longer relevant, that against good Terrans you just can't win with it. I have been a believer in that argument myself actually for quite some time. You just see Protosses not win with Arbiters so often, but the theory of exactly how you're supposed to win, in other words, just have too many bases and spread the Terran thin until they run out of money, was beautifully illustrated here. Really was. Looks like we're setting up for some recall shenanigans or something. I don't think he wants to fight clean, or does he? Okay, here we go. He's pulled everything together, organized his control groups. We'll keep a nice big zoom on it. Got all his units in play. And maxed out. Does hit an EMP on this Arbiter, nicely done. But there's so many spares. Don't think it's going to matter much. Storming forward with the Zealots. Another EMP, so it's only managed to throw off one stasis here. Doesn't matter. He could have stormed this with pure Zealot goon and not had a single Arbiter, and it wouldn't have mattered. It's just a case of too much Protoss. And a very, very clinical game by Best. Showing, I think, beautifully how to play... Oh, that was a nice little mind drag. How to play the Arbiter style. How to play the macro style. How to counter the Rax Expand. So, as somebody studying the game, this was an excellent, excellent demonstration of how to respond to the Rax Expand, how to play Arbiter, how to understand when to sack a base, and to patiently just keep spreading the Terran around and denying their fourth, and when you try to take a fifth in another location, knocking that down. So an excellent game from Best, a very, very solid showing from TaEngGu as well, but a very, very enjoyable cast. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. I am Rabbit Roo. I'll be around for regular Brood War casts. Until next time, take it easy. Ciao for now.